Hey, what's up, people? Pizzal here, and today I want to talk to you guys about the new Scream Factory Collector's Edition Blu-ray release for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. Now, this is partially going to be a review of the movie as well as a review of this Blu-ray release. And I hardly know where to begin when it comes to Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. I can vividly remember first seeing the trailer for this film. I don't remember what movie it was featured in front of. I remember renting a video from the video store, popping it in the VCR, and the very first trailer that came up was for Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. And I was elated. A, because it's a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. B, because Kim Hinkle, the co-writer of the original Chainsaw, had written and directed it. And C, it stars Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger. And for Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger to be in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, this thing has to be amazing. This thing has to be awesome. This has to be the ultimate Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Then I remember reading a review of the film in which it informed me that both Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger had made this film prior to their rise to stardom, and that the movie was really bad. Still, undaunted, I rented the movie, brought it home, popped it in the VCR, very hopeful, and about 90 minutes later, yeah. Now, the setup for this movie is your standard slasher movie setup. You've got a group of young people. They take the wrong turn down a dark and dusty road where they fall prey to the Slaughter family. Not the Sawyer family, the Slaughter family. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series is a really interesting one because it's as if each film takes place in its own universe. But in the case of Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, it's as if this movie takes place in its own galaxy. That's how far out this movie is. It's barely even a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. For instance, Leatherface in this film is basically a whining, crying transvestite who halfway through the movie pretty much disappears until the very end of the film. The family they're not cannibals. They eat pizza and takeout food. And the reason why they're torturing and killing people is because they're part of an Illuminati conspiracy orchestrated by a guy with a bowl cut and a bunch of nipples on his stomach. All of the young victims in this film, they're pretty uninteresting and interchangeable with the exception of Renee Zellweger's character. All of the Slaughter family are pretty much the same with the exception of Matthew McConaughey's character. And if you guys are familiar with my channel, you've heard me talk about experience movies in the past. Movies that you just have to experience to fully grasp. This is that kind of movie. And I can't necessarily recommend it, but if you do choose to experience Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, experience it for the performances of Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey, particularly Matthew McConaughey, who goes over the top in a way that has seldom, maybe never before. And I'm even thinking about Eric Freeman's performance in Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. McConaughey here goes so far over the top into a level of insanity probably never captured on film up to that point or since. He is so out of his gourd in this movie as Vilmer. And Renee Zellweger, bless her heart. If you thought Marilyn Burns had it rough in the original Chainsaw, Renee Zellweger probably still has scars from this film today, because pretty much the entire third act, or really probably the last half of the movie, she is subject to Matthew McConaughey spitting on her, slapping her, throwing her around, choking her, dragging her across the floor. Just merciless. Absolutely merciless. And the movie just gets more and more insane. And McConaughey's performance gets more and more insane as the film progresses. The movie doesn't make an absolute lick of sense. The end of the movie makes no sense whatsoever. It's... I just don't know. I don't know what they were on when they were making this movie. I don't know what they were thinking when they were making this movie. I don't know if they were trying to spoof the Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequels. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words when it comes to Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. This is a movie that, again, you just have to experience to fully grasp what is going on in this movie, because it is 90 minutes of complete nonsensical insanity that features one of the most insanely over-the-top performances ever captured on film from Matthew McConaughey. And it's pretty common knowledge that this film was originally titled Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was meant to be the direct sequel to the original film. Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger were both in the film prior to them becoming stars. The movie was re-released as Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation after they both became big stars. But their agents, managers, whoever, tried to bury the movie. And they pretty much did. However, I've seen several interviews with both Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger in which they talk about this movie, and they don't shy away from it. They're not ashamed of this movie. They talk about it, very, very nice. In a very nice way. They both had fun making this movie, and I think that's really cool. And when Scream Factory first announced this release, I knew it was completely beyond the realm of possibility, but a Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger commentary for this film would be priceless. Absolutely priceless. The two of them sitting down in a room and watching this movie and commenting about it would be priceless. Just priceless. I can't recommend Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. It is an experience movie, and if you do choose to experience it, this Blu-ray from Scream Factory would be a great way to do so. This release features both the director's cut of the film, the Return of Texas Chainsaw Massacre cut of the film, which is unfortunately only in standard def, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation cut of the film, which is in high definition. But let's check out the presentation first. You've got that nice slipcase there with some really cool artwork on it. Now, when this title was originally announced, this artwork featured Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger, flanking Leatherface there. Of course, as you can see in the finished product, they are noticeably absent, but still, dig that cover art there for the slipcase. On the sleeve, we have this artwork as well, and the sleeve is reversible. And on the reverse of the sleeve, you've got the original poster art and also the artwork that was on the VHS for Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. And I actually owned this poster back in the day. This poster once hung on my bedroom wall. A young Pizzal once very proudly displayed this poster art on his bedroom wall. As far as picture quality and sound quality are concerned, again, the Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the director's cut of the film, is only in standard def, but it still looked okay. It sounded good. As far as the picture quality, 2.5 to a 3 out of 5. The sound quality, 3.5 out of 5. The Next Generation cut of the film is in high def. It looked pretty good. I thought I would give it a solid 4 out of 5. The sound quality also pretty good. I'd give it a solid 4 out of 5 as well. As far as the extras are concerned, first up, we've got The Buzz is Back. It's 11 minutes and 42 seconds in length. It's an interview with director of photography Levy, or Levi, I'm not sure, I'm thinking Levi Isaacs. Mr. Isaacs discusses how he became a cinematographer, his influences, and how Tobe Hooper helped him get his start in the business. He discusses working on the first Chainsaw film and how he got hired on to shoot The Next Generation. He discusses the shooting location and the miserable working conditions due to the heat and humidity of shooting the film in the Texas summer. He discusses his disappointment with the end of the film, the crop duster killing Matthew McConaughey, and the Illuminati guy, both of which just pop out of nowhere. Very nice interview with Mr. Isaacs. Next up, we have Marked for Death. It's 16 minutes and 1 second in length. It's an interview with actor Tyler Shea Cohn. Mr. Cohn discusses the film community in Austin in the early 90s and getting cast in The Next Generation. He discusses his character in the film and working with Kim Hinkle, Robert Jacks, and the rest of the cast, excluding Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey. I thought it was odd. Both of these interviews, neither Mr. Isaacs or Mr. Cohn mentioned Matthew McConaughey or Renee Zellweger by name. It's odd. But nice interview with Mr. Cohn, nevertheless. Next up, we have If Looks Could Kill. It's 19 minutes and 3 seconds in length. It's an interview with special makeup effects artist J.M. Logan and production designer Deborah Pastor. Mr. Logan discusses getting hired on initially to create the mechanical leg for Matthew McConaughey's character in the film. Oh my God, how could I neglect talking about Matthew McConaughey's leg apparatus that he wears in the film that he controls with television remote controls? So yes, Mr. Logan was first hired on to create the mechanical leg for Matthew McConaughey's character before getting the gig to do all of the makeup effects in the film. Ms. Pastor and Mr. Logan discuss working with Kim Hinkle. They both discuss the film community in Austin in the early 90s. Ms. Pastor discusses picking the brain of Robert Burns, who did the art direction for the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre before working on The Next Generation. They discuss the different makeup effects and props used in the film. They discuss working with the late Robert Jacks, who played Leatherface, and more. Very nice interview with both Mr. Logan and Ms. Pastor. We get a trailer for the film, and we get a commentary for the director's cut of the film with writer-director Kim Hinkle, who is accompanied by Phil Noville Jr., Joe Stevens, and Ryan Huberman. Mr. Hinkle discusses the grueling hours and casting Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey. Joe Stevens discusses how he was cast and a rafting trip that Matthew McConaughey orchestrated for the casting crew during filming. They discuss Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey's rise to stardom shortly following the film, and just briefly on how unfortunate it was that they couldn't use their stardom to promote the film. Hinkle discusses the downplayed cannibalism angle in the film. Hinkle discusses the Illuminati backstory in the film as well, and much more. A nice commentary for the director's cut of the film. However, they do mention a couple of times that Kim Hinkle was a bit reluctant to want to do the commentary, and I could kind of tell that because he didn't seem overly candid about the film, at least in my opinion. It wasn't quite as informative as I hoped the commentary was or would be, but still overall not a bad commentary. This is a pretty nice release for Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. Calling it a collector's edition might be stretching it just a little bit. Maybe a couple of more extras on there. It would have been nice, but hey, we got what we got. We got both cuts of the film. We got a nice commentary for the director's cut with Kim Hinkle. A reluctant Kim Hinkle, but nevertheless, still pretty nice release for Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation from Scream Factory. If you picked up this release, please let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments section below. Let me know your thoughts on Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation just in general down in the comments section below. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. They're also right around here. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. Join the A Buck a Month Club and help support my channel on Patreon. Thank you to my current patrons: Kevin Smythe, Orc145626, B-Movie Mike, Robert Sobel, Turi Delamore, Stephen Flanagan, Lori Holt, Mitch O'Dell, Farron Sutton, Craig Farrand, Jeremiah Lambert, Grindhouse Grotto, Joseph Charlesworth, Chris Earls, Derek Jana, Demon Waffles, Tim Williams, Stone Gassman, Zachary Barton, Mr. Bibby86, James Welch, Eli Geisler, Jeff Overing, Cliff Hostetter, Kyle McGuire, Jay the Stingray, Lauren Dixon, Travis Davis, Dave Barnes, Jonathan Lundy, and Chris Parsons. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.